Good morning, Raptor Freaks. Lexi Otts here. It's Thursday, so we're doing Thursday Think Tank. And today I wanted to bring up the whole idea of Team USA versus Team Canada at FIBA World Cup because it does seem like it could be very likely that's what's going to happen for the final game. I don't want to get ahead of myself for sure, but in some ways, even if they don't play each other, I think it's a useful exercise to talk about the similarities and differences between the two teams and really where their places are in FIBA competition. Because in some ways, Team USA is a team that's unlike any other team in the whole entire FIBA competition. The whole entire team is NBA players, and not only that, they're certain caliber NBA players. But in some ways, I think that building a team that all caliber the same way is kind of folly and not totally the smartest team building strategy. That in some ways you're going to end up with a disgruntled Brandon Ingram because of selecting a team purely on like top level talent from the NBA. Some ways those teams in the past for the US have not been as successful as they should have been because of the ambiguity about the talent. In some ways, Team USA is very similar to the Toronto Raptors last year. That there's so many good different players and doing different things that somebody needs to go do the jobs and they may fall through the cracks because there's no defined roles. We talked about this before that if you don't define roles for your team in some ways, that can be a real problem. Now there are certain players on that team that do have defined roles, like Jaren Jackson Jr., certain players off the bench. They're finding roles within that system, which is good for them and part of why they're having success. But also at the same time, there's other factors that make it kind of different for Canada and the US. And I'd like to delve deeper into them as we go through this Thursday Think Tank. So tell me what you think. What do you think about the differences between Team USA and Team Canada? And if they played each other, how would you predict an outcome or what could happen with that matchup? All right, Ahmet the GOAT is first in the chat this morning. Good to see Ahmet the GOAT all the way over in Israel joining us this morning. Good morning, Raptor Freaks. I hope y'all's day is going well. I think if Canada and USA make it to the gold medal game, we can beat Team USA. Team USA has more talent based off sheer skill. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. In some ways, the talent based off sheer skill has been a huge, huge advantage for Canada. We have been coasting it to a degree on talent with bad basketball at times also, as far as missing free throws, not playing as hard, but then getting up for the second halves and really, really killing the other team in the second half. So Team Canada has some of this as well, just like USA. The Team Canada is a weird hybrid. In some ways, Team Canada is the most like Team USA, but still has roots in FIBA basketball. And that is something that's an advantage, if you ask me, because in some ways, instead of fleshing out our whole roster with completely NBA players, just like USA did, we kept some of these old heads, these guys that have been around on the FIBA team for Canada for years. And that veteran experience and that time is really, really invaluable in some ways that people would mistake or mistake, like Philip Scrubb's presence on a roster over somebody like Cam Johnson on USA's roster, or Melvin Ejim. Does he have a place on a Team USA? Probably not. People would be like, why was this guy's Ejim on this team and this guy Scrub? Well, these guys are actually been very beneficial to Canada because of their FIBA experience and they're knowing FIBA officials, how they're kind of call stuff. So in some ways, Canada's experience in FIBA is greater than USA's, because their players are all very young, very new, and they haven't played at World Cup, any of them. They haven't done anything on the international stage to an extent. And also, the other thing is, unlike Canada, which did this 4-year commitment window where pretty much the roster has stuck together for the most part over these 4 years, other than the coach, obviously, and we'll talk about him some later. Team USA, they have had a lot less time together accumulating good chemistry and stuff. So that's an advantage for Canada right there. In some ways, we just know each other way, way better. Now, you can argue the Nova kids really do have a strong connection coming from their days at Villanova. And that's true. Bridges, Hart, Brunson. There are connections. And there's even guys that have been teammates in the NBA on Team USA that do have connections also. But do you have a connection like the Alexander cousins, playing since you were little kids and really knowing each other? Do you have a connection like Trey Bell Haynes, Melvin Ejim, and Philip Scrub from playing for Team Canada with Kelly Olynyk for like a few, like almost 10 years, honestly? These guys have been playing together. And in some ways, that's the secret of having Ejim, Bell Haynes, and Scrub, is that these guys are the continuity of veteran leadership in the Team Canada program over the last decade. And Kelly Olynyk is definitely a part of that also. So they're weird hidden advantages that Canada actually has against US in the matchups. If you just go purely on, who has more NBA players and who has more NBA players, well, sure, you're going to look at USA and be like, well, their team is way better. They've got more superstars. Well, is it superstars you really want? And in some ways, having NBA role players like Kelly Olynyk on our team is actually really kind of smarter in some ways. Yeah, have all the superstars in the world, but in some ways, you want those role player, dirty grunt players, because once again, it comes back to all the jobs on the court got to get done. And if you have prima donna kind of superstar players, they may not want to get dirty and get their hands dirty and do some of the grunt, difficult work, the unsung heroes kind of stuff on the court. Whereas, Dwight Powell, who's really not a scorer kind of guy, he's definitely a rebounder defender. Kelly Olynyk, Melvin Ejim, these guys are more willing to do the scrappy, crazy stuff because there's no glory in it. Now, the USA guys may not. That's what I'm saying. So there's some hidden advantages for Canada in a possible eventual matchup between USA and Canada. Let's see. Amit's also saying, I love that he's saying that he thinks Canada can beat USA. And I agree with him. I really very much do. Amit's saying, but Team Canada has a better chemistry with each other. Also, we have one of the most talented players in the entire world, SGA. And Kelly always steps up in these tournaments. SGA is a huge factor. And he's a weird person in FIBA setting because in some ways, as I've said in the last couple of weeks, SGA is bucking the FIBA system of basketball and bringing an NBA brand to the game, and he's forcing it into the FIBA games at times with not a lot of success and not really doing it right, but at other times, absolutely overpowering, dominant NBA style of play in FIBA where these guys just can't do anything. They can't handle his speed and strength. They cannot handle the ball handling and the great shots and just even keep up with him. And that's great because that's the way USA has won in international competition for forever. Isolation, beat people with your sheer talent. And you can do that to a degree on a one-on-one level. But you don't want your whole team to be built like that, where everybody on your team has to do it that way. That causes spacing issues. That causes all kinds of confusion. You may not get the very good team play of passing between each other that is so signature of FIBA style basketball. It really is a team game at FIBA. So you can have a superstar like SGA, but it better be a team game overall. Your game plan overall. Yeah, you can't be doing some weird stuff like Nick Nurse was doing with the Raptors last year. No, you can't. Not in FIBA. That's right. So happy to see Amit this morning. One more from Amit here is saying, we really need RJ to play at his best and shoot consistently. So happy the torture chamber will be back tomorrow against Brazil. I would be so much more confident in us, though, if we had Jamal Murray. Sorry for all the messages and let them be so long. No, this is perfect, Amit. You've given me 3 great introductory messages to start this chat that are right on the subject I want to talk about. And you've absolutely been the perfect intro. So don't worry about it at all. I like this too. RJ started slow at FIBA World Cup, not shooting very well, but he's turned it on the last 2 games. And yes, in some ways, I want to see more of the baton and the carrying of the team pass from SGA to RJ, because in some ways, RJ is a good foil, a dual attack. With no Jamal Murray, as you said, he could have been that dual attack with SGA, and RJ kind of is the third scorer. Well, RJ's got to step up, next man up, and kind of take that scoring, handle that secondary scorer guy after SGA that possibly Jamal Murray could have been. So I'm with you. RJ is key to Canada's success, and his father and himself are very aware of that. So we're going to see RJ do some heroic things before we're done at FIBA World Cup 2023. Watch. I'm going to predict that right now. Very, very happy also to hear that, yes, Lou Dort is more than likely going to be available to play tomorrow after missing the last two games at World Cup. So always happy to welcome back a player from injury. Lou gets Dort. Hopefully we'll be dressed and out there running against Brazil. 9:30 tomorrow morning. Watch along on this channel. So if you don't enjoy listening to Sportsnet commentators, I love you, Alvin. You're the best. You can listen to me call the game instead. I've been calling all the FIBA games, and it's been absolutely a blast. You can ask other people that have been there. I have a different style, and it's definitely a homer style for Team Canada, and I will get passionate about them doing good things while I'm calling it. So there's a watch along tomorrow. Canada versus Brazil, the classification round, the second round of FIBA World Cup. Let's go, Canada. That's what I'm all about it. Dana is here. Canadian Dana, good morning, everybody. With her Raptor lineup there. I love it. 6 Raptor lineup. I like that. It's got a 6. She's got a 6-man in there. Ahmed saying, I start high school on Sunday. I'm so nervous. Yes, we got school on Sunday here. That is a weird comment in a couple ways, Ahmed, but I'm proud of you. Go and start your high school career, young man, and start it on a Sunday. Yeah, so you guys go to school on Sunday in Israel. Well, that kind of makes sense, I guess. All the best to you. I hope your high school years are absolutely rich with memories and good times. Remember, Amit, you're only young once. So be smart with your life. Don't make any stupid decisions, but also really revel and enjoy your youth now. Most young people do not realize that youth is fleeting and that those memories and those good times, those rites of passages, like going to high school, are really important and special. So if the more present you can stay as a young man, the more ahead you will be with your compatriots and your people that are your age. So the more you're present and understanding, this is a big deal, and make it special. Well, you'll have those memories forever. So you go, Amit the GOAT, starting high school this weekend. Wow, wow. So happy for you, man. Trevor J is here, Commissioner Trevor J, Commissioner of Fantasy Sports on the Raptor Free channel. Commissioner J, what do you got to say? Good morning, Raptors family. New Zealand has been beaten by Mexico. So Mexico, saving some face after losing all 3 of their first round games, has beaten New Zealand. I'm actually very surprised about this. New Zealand had a good fight against Canada when we played them in the friendly. They had a good fight against the USA in the first round of the FIBA. And they had looked like they were going to win some of these games in the first round. I think they did actually win one game in their first round. But now they've turned around and lost to Mexico. That is weird. I'm just going to say that. Mexico is not a good team at all. And New Zealand, you're better than this. So you losing to Mexico today is kind of messed up. I'm not going to lie. Let me go look at the rest of the scores for today. Of course, today is a classification day for the lower bracket. All the teams that lost in the first round had half of them had games today, or they all had games today. They all had games today. It wasn't half of them had them. They all had games today because they're, as I said before, they're figuring out the seeding for FIBA World Rankings. And it is important where each country ends up in the hierarchy of things with how they win and lose. So these games matter, especially to a team like France, because they're kind of doing damage control to try and limit their fall in the FIBA rankings. So they absolutely have to win these loser brackets, the France team. So here's some action from earlier today from Group O, which is a loser group. Yes, it is. Cape Verde lost to Finland. Markkanen helping Finland finally win a game at World Cup. Finally this morning, 100-77, dominant win for Finland. Looking more like what they thought they would look like at this thing. But man, they were in a bad group and they got their ass kicked. They surely did. Angola losing to China. China gets a win finally behind Lei Kyle Anderson. 83-76. Angola falling to China this morning in Group M action. Group N, we have New Zealand versus Mexico, as I said, and Cruz dropped 27 points for Mexico in a 108-100 win. Lebanon winning today. Lebanon getting their first win at FIBA World Cup, beating Ivory Coast 94-84, a 10-point win for Lebanon this morning. Japan has defeated Venezuela. Happy to see Yuta Watanabe in the group get another win at World Cup. They've had a couple wins now. So good stuff for Utah and the team beating Venezuela this morning, 86-77. We have a couple games that are in progress right now. Finishing up, we've got the end of one of the games coming up right now. Let me see what it says. Okay, I just lost my hang on, I lost my score sheet and I'll find it now. Okay, we got South Sudan versus the Philippines, the host country. And right now, I think the game is just finishing up with a minute and a half to go, 81-66 for Luol Deng's South Sudan team over the host country, Philippines. So it looks like this is going to be a win for South Sudan, and Philippines will remain winless in the World Cup. That's too bad. They were really hoping they get at least one win. Egypt is playing Jordan right now. This is a matchup of North Africa. Very interesting. Let's see what the score is right now. 59-56 for Egypt. It's just about to start the fourth quarter right now at the Mall of Asia in Manila. So 59-56, 3-point lead for Egypt. Very competitive game. Let's see what Rondé's got in this game so far. Rondé Hollis Jefferson scoring so far in this game only 9 points on 3 of 6 shooting. So Rondé's not really taken over like he has for a few of these games recently. Also playing right now, let's see. No. The other game playing right now is France and Iran is the last game of the day. Of course, France playing to save face, as I said. Early score on that game is 9-12 for Iran. So Iran out on top early in that game there. So doing some score watching with the the lower classification games. Of course, tomorrow we'll have all the upper classification teams, the teams that made it to the second round, all playing their first second round matchups tomorrow. Brazil and Canada, 9:30 a.m. Watch along here on this channel tomorrow. So please tune in. Thank you, Trevor, for the score updates. And yeah, good action this morning, even in the losers bracket. Ahmed the Goat saying, respectfully, Ivory Coast must be really bad if they lost to Lebanon. You know, Lebanon was weird. In some ways, they have some interesting players. Like Spellman is very good player from the U.S., a big chunky guy, but he has some real skills. And, I never really saw Ivory Coast during this tournament because they weren't in our group, and I didn't really watch much of the other games. But, there are a couple of African teams that have been absolutely fantastic in this tournament. I know Ivory Coast, I think they did win one game. So, all the African nations have won a game for the most part. South Sudan, Angola, Cape Verde, so it is what it is. But good for Lebanon. They got something good to feel about. So, these teams are all kind of even. There's like strata, 2 international FIBA teams. You got the USA, Canada, Australia, Germany, Spain, and then you've got different tiers of good teams. And Lebanon is down there, but they may be in a very equal team with Ivory Coast, and that's part of the reason why they can line up and steal one from them. Because we know how sports are. There's a certain percentage that either team could win. Well, Lebanon stepped up and they got the win today. So yeah, it's a good win. It's a good one. I'm sure they're celebrating like crazy. Trevor J saying, here's his words of wisdom from Commissioner J. Be happy and not mad. Don't walk around being mad at things you cannot control. Leave it in the hands of the Almighty, and He will fix all your problems today. Just believe in Him. There you go. Trevor J saying, listen, if there's uncomfortableness, there's some weird stuff going on in your life, you're getting upset about, just give it up to your higher power and just say everything will work out somehow, some way, the right way. And I just have faith in that. Faith doesn't necessarily have to be a religious thing. People need to realize that if you're a secular person and you don't really go to church or you're not very religious, you can have faith in the world still. That in some ways there's a natural order to things and a natural order to energies that it all balances out. So if you're ever in a situation where things are kind of bad, like I could tell a story real quick. My neighbor lost his wallet on the TTC a month ago, and he was very upset about it. He wasn't really upset about the money or the cards, having to go get them replaced. He was upset because his late sister had given him that wallet and it had sentimental value to him. Well, he was just giving up on it. He gone and went and got his new license, his new credentials, everything that he was missing from the wallet being gone. And well, you know what? He was upset about it. We talked about it. It was like, well, who knows what could happen? Things could work out. In some ways, you got to just be patient and just allow it to go up to your higher power, and hopefully things will work out. Well, guess what? Within a week, he got a call from the TTC. They had found his wallet and he got it back. So he did get that special object that he reminds him of his sister who passed away. So, that's what I'm saying. Sometimes you just got to chill and let time go by and it all works out. Thank you, Trevor J. Thank you so much. Yeah, there you go. Because the angst and the feeling upset when it's happening is not going to help. So you put yourself through stuff that you just didn't have to, because it all worked out in the end, is what I'm saying. There you go. Good stuff, Trevor J. As always. Yeah, I'm excited about our stuff coming up. Lots of fun this fall on the Rapid Freak channel. Thanks to Commissioner Trevor J. I'm going to tell you that right now. NBA Quick Takes is in the house. What up, freaks? Peace and love and happiness to NBA Quick Takes. Always happy to see NBA quick Takes in the chat. I watched y'all stream the other day. Good stuff. Love the Curry versus Magic talk, the Scotty Barnes on Team USA talk, all kinds of good stuff. So give NBA Quick Takes a good follow and subscription, and just comment and like his stuff. Fantastic discussions on there you can be a part of also, because he's live streaming just like me. You get in there and get in the comments, and you can talk to them and be a part of his live stream for sure. Quick Take saying, let's not kid ourselves. Canada is not currently ready for the showdown with the US. Not to say we can't develop towards that. Well, how long is it going to take for us to develop towards that? Could it take the next 10 days? Because if we see them on September the 10th in the gold medal game for FIBA World Cup, who knows? We may have more experience, more swagger, more confidence, and have some really interesting things happen with this team, especially if we take down some big dogs on the way up, like Spain and Australia. This could be very, very interesting. You know what? I'm going to say that Quick Takes is maybe a little more grounded in reality in some ways right now. Of course, we're pie in the sky. We're going to think very optimistically for Canada. In some ways, we're biased that way. And maybe he's right, but I don't know. I mean, who's to say? Their team is more thrown together than ours. And in some ways, maybe we bonded and have better swag and chemistry between our guys. Maybe we have the right different attitudes and personalities on our team, with having somebody like a Dylan Brooks and a Kelly Olynyk, a Trey Bell Haynes. It'll be very interesting to see. But I like hearing a counterpoint saying, let's be realistic. USA has been the top dog in a lot of ways since '94, when they allowed the NBA players to start playing at FIBA. And in some ways, it hasn't really changed, although they have had failures. That's what I'm saying. We got to look at the playbook of USA in past international play. Either they're overwhelmingly successful, like the original Dream Team in Barcelona, or that World Cup here in Toronto in '94. But there have been years in the last 20 years where Spain has beaten them and been the number one team at FIBA World Cup. So they're gettable. They're very gettable. It's not like they've just won every year forever since NBA players have come in. So it's interesting. In some ways, the falls of the USA and FIBA competition is usually because of not being totally connected right. It is very much the symptoms of a superstar team that's playing for themselves, that's not really playing with each other, is usually the downfall for Team USA. And well, this is what Charles Barkley has been talking about recently, that in some ways he thinks the USA failing at FIBA World Cup would be good for them, because it would kind of show the flaws in that kind of philosophy of playing, the very individualistic isolation. I'm going to beat you on my own talent, not use the team scheme of basketball that naturally wins and naturally utilizes your full potential and power. So that's what he's saying right now. In some ways, he's like, if the USA loses, it might be good for them to understand that in some ways, the international game, the game of FIBA game, is way more team oriented. And that's the Achilles heel of USA in some ways. Sure, you can be very talented and play within together, but there's levels of playing together. Seriously. We've seen Germany a couple times in the last month against them, and you see how together they are as a team, how much they have everything together. Lithuania has been playing with each other since they were 15 years old, and Jonas is in his 30s now. These guys are together and they're on the same page. And this is usually how these other teams in FIBA have advantages over thrown together collections of huge talent like the USA and Canada. Now, on this sliding scale of together, Canada is closer to being together like those other teams than USA. I will argue that every single day. And it's true because we've had guys that know each other really, really well. Like I said, there's some guys that are on the Team Canada team that have been around Team Canada for like 10 years now. And that matters for something. These USA guys, they just got thrown together this summer. I don't even know if this exact group was the group that was thrown together the last time FIBA competition happened with USA. It seems like they just pick random US American players to just put on teams at that time because they're like the hip or the hot names. And it's not necessarily about building the program with that core going forward. It's not like this cohort of guys that are playing at FIBA World Cup may be on the U.S. Olympic team next year, probably most of them. But even after that cycle, they go off. They don't stay. They're like, oh, I did the Olympics, Anthony Edwards. And it's like, I don't have to go back to the Olympics. I already went and did it. Let's give somebody else an opportunity. In some ways, that hurts the U.S. program because there's no continuity in personnel and connections. And that is something that is an advantage for Canada in this, because in some ways, on the sliding scale of things, the U.S. is its own little thing in FIBA, and we're closest to them, but we're still more like FIBA than the U.S. is. Does that make sense? All right, let's keep going. Let's see. Ahmed saying Canada is not playing on Tuesday. Does that mean there will be trivia? Ahmed really wants to get going on the trivia again because he's in third and he sees some daylight and he wants to catch Fiercey Salsera and Iceman like Urban. Listen, the rule is this basically, Ahmed, and this will be happening all season because the trivia season does not end until the next Larry O'Brien is given out. So we're going to be going this whole entire NBA season on this trivia season. So, and during the season, I don't do trivia every Tuesday. If there's games, if I do a game reaction or a game preview, I will be doing that and no trivia. Now, if there's this Tuesday where it's 2 days off, like they have Monday off and Tuesday off, then there will be trivia for sure. So you might want to look at the NBA schedule, mark the games where Tuesday is a day after a day off. If it's the second day off, there will be trivia that day for sure. That during the season. Now, if there's no game around Tuesday next week, like we're not playing on Tuesday, well, yeah, there will be trivia on Tuesday next week. So it really is whether there's a game around. If there's a preview for a game or a reaction for a game on a Tuesday this season, don't expect any trivia questions. So yeah, that's really the way you can gauge it the easiest, Ahmed. And yes, this tournament goes a long time. And yeah, we'll find out what the prize is for the trivia this year very soon, I'm sure, at some point, and I'll let y'all know. So yeah, Ahmed, there you go. G saying, I don't know the NBA quick takes. I don't know NBA quick takes. U.S. is made up of very talented NBA players, but we have to account for chemistry and players knowing and excelling in their roles like defense, rebounding, etc. Yeah, G saying a similar thing to what I'm saying right now. It's about knowing your roles and not having too much ambiguity, just like Raptors did last year, and not getting things done. Things fall through the cracks when you don't have designated jobs and roles that you go do. We know what Kelly Olynyk's job is. We know what Dwight Powell's job is. We know what SGA's job is. We know what Nikel's job is. That's the thing. And in some ways, USA may be figuring out roles and figuring this stuff out, but some of these guys are not in normal roles that they would be in the NBA, and they may be a little uncomfortable. And some of them may be whining too. You don't want Brandon Ingram around that team like that. Did you really need Brandon Ingram on that team also? In some ways, that shows the problem there. You could have gotten a role player, somebody that does something totally different on that team instead of Brandon Ingram. And now he's just a headache because he's complaining and he's whining because he doesn't get to play and he looks bad on the international setting because he's a different player for the Pelicans, somebody that's absolutely the man. But there's not enough room for everybody to be the man on Team USA. So that breeds contempt, and that also breeds bad energy around the team that's just not necessary. It really isn't. If you construct the roster right with the right roles, know your role, Dwayne Johnson, then things will be better. And G's alluding to this in his comment here. Naco the Nacho is here. Y'all, tonight is the night. Danforth Comedy Bar East. Naco will be hitting the stage, stand-up comedian. I hope you'll go down there and support him at the Sweet and Spicy Show tonight at Danforth Comedy Bar East. He is there as Gerald Mayhew. So please support local comedy and young comedians like Gerald Mayhew, Naco the Nacho. Yeah, I would think SGA is the most talented, and I would think Canada has better chemistry. I won't disagree with either of these. In some ways, it's a three-man race who the most talented player at World Cup is. Luka Doncic has one of the best rankings out of all the players as far as like, let me go. I got this ranking thing here that's got all the top players in the league in FIBA, and they've got Luka with a 50 rating after 3 games. And really, he is doing everything for Slovenia. He does everything for that team. He's absolutely the number one option. He's absolutely getting fed the ball like crazy. He's absolutely like getting everything. And in some ways, SGA is not getting that totally. Is a lot more balanced in different ways. And he has the second highest rating as a player at FIBA World Cup as far as like the it's like the fantasy 4 points or whatever, or the the productive points, and he's got a 37.08 after 3 games, while Luka's a 50. Luka's absolutely by far the most important player for his team. He is definitely, if there's going to be an MVP for a team where he's so valuable, yeah, it's Luka Doncic. But in a lot of ways, SGA is the balance of the most talented guy on a team that's balanced. And he has to, in some ways, share with RJ and the other guys to a degree. That's interesting to me. Now, no Americans are on this list very high. The highest American is Austin Reeves, and or Anthony Edwards. He's 24th on this list with a 21.13 ranking after the first round. Rondé Hollis Jefferson is just above him, and Usman Garuba, just for a little reference there. Nikola Jovic is the third most highest rating player in this tournament right now so far. That's interesting to me. Jovic, not Jokic, the rookie from Miami. And then the American playing for Japan, Josh Hawkinson. Now, Josh plays in the Japanese league, and he does have very strong ties to Japan as a country. So it's a little weird that that guy is on Japan, but in some ways I get it. But there's somebody who's pissed off about naturalized players playing for FIBA teams once again, and it is Davis Bertans. Very much echoing some of the stuff his coach was saying the other day. He's complaining about the refs. Well, Davis is complaining about the naturalized players on FIBA teams. He, in fact, has said he's very proud that Latvia is purely Latvians, and there are no other people from any other countries on that team. That he wants to keep it pure. He sounds a little, ugh. But apparently, Brooklyn Nets guard Mike James was thinking about joining Latvia to come and play for them, and the Latvian players rejected the notion of having a foreign player come and play on their team just because they can, because of the naturalization rule. This is what he said. This is Davis Bertans. I'm extremely proud of our country. We have our values, and we want to have every single Latvian on the team. Every single one that has the chance to play for the national team. From the 12-man roster, all 12 will always be Latvian as long as I'm playing. I can guarantee you that. And I mean born and raised Latvian, not with a given passport. This is weird. Nationalism spawned from the naturalization rules at FIBA. So this guy's like saying, we only want Latvians on this team, and we reject Mike James, who could be a higher gun for us. In fact, they were really close to getting Mike James on the Latvian team, and the players spoke up and said they didn't want to play if he was going to be on the team. So it was really interesting that the Latvian players rejected a foreign player coming to their team. They're doing quite well anyway. So, but this is a very contentious subject during this FIBA World Cup. Naturalized players playing for teams like Kyle Anderson and Rondé Hollis Jefferson. What is that about? Yeah, what is that about? Indeed. All right, let's see. Fiercey's here. Good to see Fiercey Salsera, the competitor for Amit the Goat in the trivia right now. Good morning, fam, and happy Thursday. Always good to see Fiercey. So happy to see member Fiercey in the chat. Smooth Brown Man's here. It's been a little bit smooth. Always good to see you check in. Raptor Freak Smooth. If a U.S.-Canada final would happen, it would be a lot closer than some people think. I would not be surprised if Canada won. There's other factors in this that we got to think about too. Jordy's a hot shot. Jordy has some stuff to prove. Jordy versus Kerr. Steve Kerr is Golden State and Jordy is Sacramento. And there is a little bit of a rivalry between those two Pacific Division opponents. And, it could be, like Smooth saying, a lot closer than people think. In some ways, the team that doesn't play the sloppiest, the team that gets the 50-50 balls, the team that outworks the other team will probably win that game. And that's the thing. That'll be what it'll be very interesting to see. I'm very curious about a USA-Canada matchup defensively. Like, I'd want to see if they could try and tie up SGA, or will SGA just go off on the US just like he's done everybody else? Like, really, seriously. I mean, there's some very good defenders on Team USA, but could they tie up SGA and stop him? That is what they have to think about. And then on the vice versa, we'd have to play against some of the top talented players in this FIBA World Cup, like Anthony Edwards, and really, really figure out how we could stop them. But if we have the NBA level type defensive stuff going on our team right now, so it would be a very cool battle to see the offensive talent against the defensive stuff that the two teams would have to come up with to try and stop the other side. RJ and SGA trying to figure out how to stop both of them. And if Jamal had been there too, yeah, that would have been a nightmare for Kerr and Spoelstra and the rest of the USA coaches. So, yeah, I like the idea of this matchup. And I love hearing all the different opinions. Smooth says it could happen. Canada could beat the US. And it's a lot closer than y'all think. Yeah, Evelyn's here. Good to see Granny Evelyn. Granny Swag. Good morning, fantastic, awesome Raptor Freak family. Always happy to see Granny Swag. Granny Evelyn, give a big kiss to baby Candace for us. The young Raptor Freak that baby Candace is. Yes. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Raptor Freak crew. Team Canada doing good. We have the toughest pathway. In some ways we do, but that's the best thing because you get tested in fire. And to be the man, you got to beat the man. Well, we beat the first man, and he was a French man. Now we got to go beat a Brazilian man and a Spanish man. And we beat that Spanish man in the last 2 weeks in overtime in a very impressive win, Jordy versus Sergio. The rematch, Sunday morning, 9:30 a.m., Spain versus Canada. There's all kinds of ties between Canada and Spain in different ways with relationships. It's a fun matchup. It's a very much a fun matchup. And then tomorrow, of course, playing against Brazil, Bruno Caboclo, Toronto Raptors draft pick. It'll be fun to see old Bruno up against Team Canada tomorrow. See how he does against our defense. And maybe can he stop SGA? I doubt it. I very much doubt Bruno can stop SGA. I don't think anybody at FIBA World Cup will be able to stop SGA in the end. Yeah, there you go. Good morning, Cool Cat. Always happy to see Cool Cat in the chat. G saying, are SGA and Jamal, hopefully plays in the Olympics, better or on par with Anthony Edwards and Jalen Brunson? Then compare centers and forwards and defense. Jaren Jackson Jr. is a beast, but maybe pretty evenly matched. Well, you definitely want to get that battery of Olynyk on Powell on Jaren Jackson Jr. Of course, Jaren Jackson Jr. is not necessarily being an offensive weapon for Team USA. He's really doing the defensive and rebounding stuff for them right now. So it may be just getting a body on him and boxing him out, and then maybe kind of on offense, trying to draw him out of the paint so he's not a shot blocking threat or annoying as the defensive player of the year for the NBA on Team USA. So there's a couple of strategies to deal with Jaren Jackson. And as I said, they're not really, he's not like, he's the defensive rebounder. In some ways, he's their Dwight Powell. So we'll have to see Dwight Powell and Kelly muscling with him down underneath the basket. That'll be a good matchup. Yeah, SGA and Jamal versus Anthony Edwards and Jalen Brunson, who's Jalen Brunson's birthday today. That is a very interesting offensive pairing. I would take our guys over them as far as just pure firepower and how high level they are in the league. I think Anthony Edwards is a top level player for sure. I am not a huge fan of Jalen Brunson. I do feel like he is overhyped at this point. The fact that he's in New York and he's got the New York media behind him and he's had some success and he's being anointed as the guy who's bringing the Knicks back into prominence, yeah, they're going to overhype him. In some ways, Jalen Brunson has the same bullshit around him as Austin Reeves right now. Way overhyped. These guys are not as great as they think they are. I thought that this whole thing about him going from Dallas to New York was funny because in some ways, yeah, you did drop the ball, Mark Cuban, but you couldn't do anything about it. I hear that Jalen Brunson was talking to his dad, Rick Brunson, who's an assistant coach for the Knicks, and it was all set up already. That he was just going to leave them and go to the Knicks anyway. In some ways, I do not value or put as much into Jalen Brunson as most of the NBA and basketball community does. I think he's a fraud to a degree. And at some point, he's going to come down to earth a little bit, just like Austin Reeves. So I don't consider him even on the same tier as those other three players. You could say Gilgeous Alexander and Murray and Anthony Edwards are top level scorers in the NBA and top levels, but I will not include Jalen Brunson in that group. I'm sorry, I will not. So there's your answer, G, right there. Smooth Brown Man saying the Canadian pool of talent is getting deeper and deeper every year. It's refreshing. I love that. You use the word pool and refreshing. So you know what? You're going to get a dunk just for interesting tie-in. It's like he said, pool and refreshing. That makes me want to go jump in a swimming pool right now. Oh my gosh. All right, Smooth's getting a dunk. Let's put Smooth down. Getting a dunk for that cool wordplay there. All right, let's see. He's saying, I love guys that want to play for Canada. Gone are the days of Jamal McGlures and Samuel Dallenberts being divas. In some ways, it's like the pool had to get like more cool with the cool kids in the pool. And at times, part of it is the FIBA change in '94 in Toronto, putting the NBA players in there, and then also Canada catching up. We have to realize that for the most part, Canada only had like a handful of NBA players up until recently. It really is the Carter effect that Vince Carter came out there, did the dunks, made a whole bunch of Canadian kids love basketball. They went out and played, and now we're getting those crops coming out in the last 10 years. So back in the day and before in the 94 or before that, there were only like 3 or 4 Canadians that were worth a shit in the league, like Rick Fox and Bill Wennington. And that's it. And these guys weren't even top level players like SGA is. So in some ways, Canada's talent movement is rising very quickly. And back in the day, some of those guys that were prominent Canadian players did not want to play for us because there was no support. There was not enough of them to kind of really feel like, well, we're just going to be getting our butt kicked. And like, what's the point? So the transition from amateur FIBA to professional FIBA, it's taken a little longer for Canada to enjoy the spoils of that change. But with Vince Carter doing the dunk contest in Oakland and being the man he is as Air Canada at that time, well, this is the effect now. We can thank old number 15 for the fact that Jamal Murray and SGA exist at this point. So yeah, it's a timing thing. And those old times with Dallenberg and McGlure, they really were kind of like 1 or 2 guys that were any good. And they were like, yeah, I don't have time for this. I got to worry about my NBA career and just stay in the league, then mess around and just go lose with Canada. Because there wasn't enough men to go in there and get that team good at those points. So that's kind of the way I see it, Smooth. Ahmed saying, I think that they would have been like that. Steve Nash did it early in his career with Rowan Barrett Sr. When they were on the Team Canada team around the turn of the century. But yeah, I get, there's different periods where it kind of went up and down. Like it was pretty high around 2000 with Steve Nash and Rowan Barrett Sr. And then in the later 2000s, kind of, and then we came back up within the last 10 years. So I'm saying score updates of live games. All right, you want more score updates? Let's do this. I'll do them. I'm going to do them right now because what you wrote is probably from like 15 minutes ago. So I'm going to go ahead and look directly at them right now. Okay, so the Philippines have lost to South Sudan 87-68. That game is completed. Egypt is still ahead of Jordan 77-69 with under a minute to go. And then it's halftime with France and Iran 35-27 for France. So France coming back up and taking an 8-point lead at the half after being down early to Iran. Thank you, Amit the GOAT. Fiercely saying, speaking of officials, Lex, what's your take on Eric Lewis retiring? I'm not sure if you addressed it yesterday. Well, it happened after my stream. So, no, this is the first time I'll address it on this stream. This is something I predicted when this stuff happened during the playoffs. When we found out that Eric Lewis has a burner account on Twitter and he was tweeting things about the officials, pro official as an anonymous person, an assumed name, and the NBA found out about it and they started investigating him. I was saying, you know what? This dude's just going to retire and it's just going to go away that way. Well, we got official word yesterday. Eric Lewis is retired as an official from the NBA. This is good. Honestly, this is badass. We know Eric Lewis is a dirty ref. He's been a dirty ref for a long time, and we've all got that perception of him. You know, when you see a ref and his family in Boston Celtics jerseys on social media, yeah, you start to wonder if this guy has a proclivity to help the Celtics. So, yeah, this guy retiring is going away. It's good for Adam Silver in the NBA. In some ways, maybe he was kind of encouraged because in some ways they don't want to go on and on with this and him fighting for his job just because of this. He's older anyway. He's near retirement anyway. So just go on off in the sunset. Go do high school games or something, Eric Lewis. You already were this summer. So in some ways, this is convenient for everybody. Convenient for the NBA, convenient for Eric Lewis, and it is what it is. Maybe he wanted to continue to have that gravy train of power being an NBA ref. Well, your run's over, bro. You got careless. You got stupid. You guys have been so arrogant. And I want Scott Foster to be next. That's what I want next. Yeah, you fire Scott Foster for his bullshit with Donaghy and all the stuff that's happened over the years. The bullshit with Scotty Barnes in that game in the last year or so. Yeah, fire Scott Foster next. And I'll be very happy about that, you know, because some of these guys are dirty as hell. And, you know, Eric Lewis leaving and going on, that's a good thing. Lakers fans are celebrating like crazy. If you want a fun comment section to go look at the NBA officials' accounts announcement of Eric Lewis's retirement and go read all the comments in the comment section. You will have a laugh about this stuff because they all know about this guy being crooked and messed up. And they've seen it in games. Philadelphia fans says they want review of every single Celtics Sixers game in the last 5 years that Eric Lewis has refereed because he has been fucked up and really, really biased in his calls. Laker Nation is celebrating that this man is done. He seemed to personally have a vendetta against LeBron James, and the Lakers fans are very, very happy that Eric Lewis is moving on with his life. So, yeah, it just makes things easier for the NBA. And they get this PR headache to go away by this man retiring. So good stuff here. See, I'm very happy about Eric Lewis retiring. And I think it's good for the NBA. In some ways, y'all have an integrity problem with your refs. And if you have any refs that are suspect of character, yeah, that old guard that's still holding on, that whole Donaghy class of guys that are doing Donaghy stuff still, they need to fucking go, NBA. Get rid of these guys. The old school dudes need to go. Encourage your old refs to retire. Seriously, encourage them. Scott Foster next, please. Get him to retire next, please. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Fiercey, for bringing that up. Monique is here. Good to see the superfan Monique Lawrence. Good morning, everyone. 1 minute Team Canada says 9:30. The next 9 o'clock. I'm confused. Well, Monique, this is just a classic Sportsnet BS. It's the game's at 9:30. The pregame starts at 9. So remember that, Monique. When you see that time that says 9 o'clock, that's Sportsnet coming on to start their pregame, the half-hour show before. So don't be confused. It's the same stuff with Raptor games sometimes. The game, you're like, why does it say 7:30 on the schedule, but the broadcast starts at 7? It's half-hour pregame. That's what it is, Mo. So you should be fine. It's 9:30 start. I'll start my broadcast at 9:15, and we'll start the game at 9:30. So I'll go on for 15 minutes of pregame. They'll be on for a half an hour, just so you know. Quick take saying RJ is the X factor. Against USA, yeah, Barrett. Very much so. Now, if we play USA in the gold medal game, we're going to need RJ to do some muscling around and do some stuff. I'd like to see him be FIBA RJ against Team USA because FIBA RJ is different than New York Knicks NBA RJ. FIBA RJ goes more to the basket and uses his strength and muscle along with his speed. I want to see if he can do this against the U.S. talent that they have for defense. You know, he could be very, very interesting if he could be very, very good still, even against their good talent. In some ways, RJ is unstoppable, just like SGA right now. It's just that he's not hitting his shot as much as he should. Good stuff, quick takes. Ahmet has got the updated FIBA rankings. These are the power rankings. This is a little bit different than the real actual FIBA rankings, Ahmet. I just want to say this. They have power rankings that are adjusted by the games happening at FIBA, but the official FIBA rankings will not be adjusted until the whole entire FIBA World Cup will be over. Now, right now, officially, Canada is still 15th in the world with their FIBA ranking. But we are kicking so much ass. We are definitely going to be rising up in that ranking by the end of this tournament. But the power rankings that are coming out, this is what Ahmed's talking about. The power rankings, I actually have them on my screen. I was going to talk about them because you brought them up, but I was going to talk about them also. Are basically, hang on, the power rankings. I had them. All right, I'll just read them from your comment. You're saying, yeah, USA 1, Germany 2, which makes sense. Germany has been very, very good recently. We've beaten them in overtime recently. So in some ways, maybe we could be number 2. Canada, number 3. Spain, number 4. Now, we beat Spain on Sunday. That's going to help us even better. Slovenia with Luka Doncic at number 5. Serbia at number 6 with Bogdan Bogdanovic. Dominican Republic at number 7 in the power rankings right now. That's interesting. That to me seems a little high. I don't necessarily think Dominican's better than Australia or Lithuania. So we'll have to see when these kind of teams happen to come across each other at a certain point. I think that that's inflated. And the Cat, honestly, he's doing certain things for that team, but come on. Are they better than Australia or Lithuania? I don't think so. Latvia just behind Lithuania at number 10, Italy at 11, and Brazil at 12. So that's very interesting to me. Very, very interesting. Now, Lithuania is interesting also because they're going to be playing Team USA on Sunday. When we play Spain, they're going to be playing Team USA, and that's going to be a huge test for the USA team. Lithuania is no joke. And I'd like to see Jonas Valanciunas and the Lithuanians get a good chunk out of the U.S. on Sunday. If they could beat the U.S., that could really change the World Cup in a lot of different ways really quickly. So that's a dangerous game for the U.S. in some ways. Lithuania on Sunday, they have their shit together. They've got size, and they've got some ways as a team to beat the U.S. if the U.S. aren't totally sharp. So I'm looking at that game to very interesting ways. Yeah, of course, us versus Spain is going to be a battle, but we've seen a winning formula of how we can beat them. And in some ways, Canada against Spain could be very similar to when we played them earlier this month already. G saying, I have to admit, I have not really watched the Team USA, so I'm probably being biased, but how have their rotations and chemistry and bench looked? Well, they've been similar to us in some ways where they've been down. Teams have come out and jumped all over them in the beginning of the games. New Zealand did this to them in their game against them. They absolutely smacked them around the first half, and the U.S. had to get their shit together and come back and make sure they won by the end of it. So there's a couple of similarities as far as like they're coming in kind of relaxed and chill. The other team's got a game plan, and they really got to jump on them because they know that's the only way they're going to win, and they're successful for a little while. But usually the success of the other team is only for like a quarter or maybe the first half. And then after that, in the second half is blown wide open by US or Canada in those situations. So that's kind of what they've been doing. So in some ways, they're similar to us. They've been sloppy and not played at their top level, but they've still managed to win and turn it on when it matters to make sure that they win. How about that? So there you go, G. Cool Cat saying, does that mean Wenyan Gabriel is having an impact? Yeah. For sure. South Sudan is such a small country, and it's also a very new country. They're so new to everything. The fact that they've won games at FIBA World Cup in their first appearance at FIBA World Games is huge. Very, very huge. Yes, Gabriel has had an impact for them, but even more so, Luol Deng running that team and being in charge of that team has had a huge impact on it also. Them having an NBA player that plays for the Lakers has been very helpful for South Sudan, for sure. Yeah. I'm at the Goat saying soon enough on your Raptors championship poster, we'll only have one current person that's part of the Raptors, and that will be the Raptor. I do not like that prediction, Amit, and strike for you, bro, because we want to keep Pascal Siakam. We love Siakam, and there's only 3 faces on there right now. that are on the team. And Drake ain't going anywhere either. Drake is with the championship trophy in the corner. So Drake and Raptor and Pascal are the only three faces. And I am considering taking that thing down very soon, just because it doesn't really represent. I mean, it represents our championship team, and it's good for nostalgia. But in some ways, I don't want Nick Nurse's face on my stream all the time. And in some ways, that picture makes me feel sad. 5 years ago, the Raptors started. We're about to start their first championship season, and we're going to celebrate this year. I have an old show that I did at Kensington, and I'm going to release all the episodes on the 5-year anniversaries that'll mark the journey of the Raptors and their championship year from my perspective and what was happening at that time. So please join me as we celebrate the championship year of the Raptors in 2019 by watching the old Kensington Variety VIP Club show, which chronicles that whole time in order. Like, so we'll watch these episodes on the 5 years to the day after they happened during the whole entire championship year. So you'll get to ride the ride with me once again, 5 years later from our championship year. You'll get to see what Lex was doing the year we won the championship, and also how I celebrated and talked about it all year. You'll see me react to the Gasol trade. You'll see me react to stuff Kawhi's doing. See me react to the playoff games all this coming year. It's just going to be added bonus content on this channel. The re-releasing of the Kensington Variety VIP Club show, 5 years to the day, the 5-year anniversary of those shows will be. The first one will broadcast September the 10th. That was the first ever show. So look for that. And if you follow along the whole year, you could really get into the stories of the whole show and what was happening the championship year when the Raptors won in 2019. And I'm wearing a shirt right now that says NBA World Champions, Toronto Raptors 2019. I think that's the way that you should to phrase it, so that you're not pissing anybody off about it being world champions. Say NBA World Champions. If you put the NBA in front of it, that makes it a little bit better. That makes it a little bit better. But in some ways, people are like, well, I'm wearing a shirt that says World Champions on it for Raptors in 2019. And well, I like this shirt, and I will not take it off just because somebody's saying you guys aren't world champions. Well, maybe we were at that time. Maybe we were. We'll never know. Now, the NBA is putting some foreign teams against NBA teams in the preseason, but they're not getting the right matchups. You know, we are playing the team from the NBL in Australia, the Taipan Cairns Taipans, and they're not even the champion of the NBL. They came in third in the Australian League, but we're going to play them in the preseason. That's where we could maybe figure this out, NBA. Get the champions of the leagues to come over and play different NBA teams that finish near the top. And then maybe we can get some more realness to the idea of somebody being called the world champions in the NBA. Yeah, it's a contentious subject recently, and it really is because of FIBA World Cup. Really, really is. Yeah, Randolph Phillips is here. Good to see Randolph Phillips stepping into the chat this morning with his blessings. Hang on, what is he saying? Blessings, beloved Raptor Freaks, most informative gang. You will cross paths with someone today. Make a good impression by touching them with love. That's right. As you walk, maneuver, and go through this world and life, realize that the people around you, you know, they may have things to offer you that you don't even realize. So don't stay closed off to people or standoffish. You know, sometimes it's good to have open energy to allow the best things in life and blessings to come towards you. When you're a little standoffish and hard to approach, you may be missing out on things that could be really good for you. Let's just put it that way. Thank you, Randolph, for your words of wisdoms and your blessings. As always, Adrian Carter's here. Good afternoon, Adrian. Hi. Good to see you, Adrian. Nice to see you check in and say hello. Mo's saying, Nick Nurse eating too much Philly cheesesteaks lately. All right, Monique has brought up our former coach. So he made an appearance in public yesterday, and I'd like to talk about it. Coach Nick Nurse at the Philadelphia Phillies game yesterday to throw the first pitch out, and he's wearing the number 25 of the team. I'm not even sure what player that is or what, but man, I'm telling you, Nick doesn't look exactly right like he did when he left. And I understand what Monique is saying. He does look like he's been hitting the Philly cheesesteaks or something, or he has not been working out like he used to when he was on the Raptors, because he's ambling out there like he's like heavy, and he does look like his waistline is expanded. Like in the last couple months since he left Toronto, I wonder if he's been like sad eating or something like that. I'm starting to wonder about this because he does not look like the fit Nick Nurse that was here in Toronto. In some ways, he had a fitness to him. Well, he's looking very round right now. I'm not going to lie. You go look at the footage of him throwing that first pitch out there. When he throws the pitch, first of all, he's trying to throw it sidearm like a Kimbrel or somebody on the Phillies. So he throws it, and it's just like he looks wider. Let's just put it. I don't like judging people like this, but it was stark and strange to me. I was like, holy crap, Nick has gained weight. Like he's gained a lot of weight. And I know it's not something to nitpick or anything like that. But with this situation, there is something to it as far as like, well, why do people gain weight? They're unhappy. Sometimes that's why people gain weight. And he has definitely gained some weight. And as Monique is saying, it may be too many Philly cheesesteaks. Being in Philadelphia already and depressed with the Harden situation, depressed seeing Jordy coaching Team Canada. Yeah, I could see where he's stuffing his face to try and make it feel better. Yeah, that's what I got from it yesterday. I mean, it's weird seeing him involved in Philadelphia sports stuff. I'm just gonna say that. If you had told me this was gonna be like this a year ago right now, I've been like, you're crazy that Nick Nurse is throwing the first pitch for the Philadelphia Phillies. You're absolutely crazy. If you told me this was gonna happen. Well, it did. And we're at this weird alternate universe. Dana's saying at Mo, laughing out loud, Nick Nurse definitely pulling the James Harden. Maybe he's trying to relate to James. He's like, James, I understand you don't want to play for us. I see your waistline. It's like, you know what? I want to be in solidarity with you. I'm going to eat a lot of fat burgers just like you this summer. And, I want to show up and relate to you. It's like, James, I'm just like you. Look at me. I'm just like you. Could be something like that. Maybe. That could be, Dana. Maybe this is a strategy to try and win him over. Joel can't talk to James at the weddings and say, come on back to Philadelphia, James. Like, no, Joel, I told you. I hate Nick Nurse. And Daryl Morey lied to me, so I'm leaving. It's like, come on, man. Nick, you got to do something. Daryl Morey, he's like saying that. And Nick's like, I know what I'll do. I'll balloon up real fat, and I'll go talk to James like I'm like his friend. Yeah, who knows? Maybe he's been going to the Fat Burger with him and throwing down the burgers just to try and get his good graces. Who knows? Who knows? It's so crazy. Fiercely saying anything can happen. We've seen upsets at different levels, NBA finals, certain FIBA games, etc. I'm very confident Canada can beat US. Yeah, I think they're a little worried about us. In some ways, I like the coaching battle. Like I said, Jordy versus those guys is fun. I want to see Jordy's a hot shot. He needs to prove some stuff. And in some ways, what he's doing with Team Canada is going to get him a head coaching job in the NBA quickly. Really, really will, especially if he coaches Canada to a victory over Steve Kerr and Team USA. That's a big deal. They will come and try and get him. Somebody gets fired this during the season. They're probably going to go hire Fernandez like right away. So the coaching battle is very interesting in itself because in some ways Jordy's trying to make a name for himself, and he become like the hot shot like Nick Nurse very soon, like Nick Nurse was 5 years ago. Let's see. Quick Takes is saying, I'm proud to watch Canada play and possibly make history regardless. Listen, they've already gone above and beyond what they've ever done at World Cup. So already this has been a huge success for Canada. But we're not done. We're not satiated. We know our potential and the things that we can do out there mean that we can go even further. But already this has been the absolutely most successful FIBA World Cup that Canada has ever participated in. In some ways, you can be like, all right, baby steps. No, that's not the way this works. When you get this overwhelming kind of talent and this overpowering kind of stuff for your team, go ahead and take it to the hill and really, really overdo it. And that's what I want to see. Let's go all the way, baby. That's right, Tapau. Let's go all the way. Oh, wait, that's Sly Fox. Let's go all the way. Let's go all the way. You know that 80s song I'm talking about? One Hit Wonder? Sly Fox. Let's go all the way. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So even though they've already made history, they've already done better than ever. Let's go. Let's get a medal. Let's do it. Let's do it. That's right. This is the best they've done since like Leo Route and stuff. That's what I'm saying. G saying Nurse used to ride his bike everywhere in Toronto. Probably not the case now. Yeah, that could be part of it. Toronto's just a fitter city. You could go to other cities in North America and they're all fat asses because they just drive everywhere. In Toronto, people walk. There's a lot of stair steps in subway stations. You live in Toronto, you're going to be in better shape. You're going to be healthier just because you got to get around. Maybe that is part of it. Maybe Nick Nurse is riding the cushy limos around or something like that. And he's not getting out on his bike like he was before. Yeah, that's a good point, G. I think that might be right. Quick Takes is saying, I like that take, Lex. 100%. Canada is closer to FIBA standards. Yeah, it's a sliding scale, Quick Takes. If we think about it, the NBA players on USA are very much not totally FIBA. And then Canada's kind of there. And then you start going into like Lithuania, Germany, Greece, Italy, all these teams that really have good team play, and they get further because of that. Like Greece getting to the second round, and Italy, they get to the second round. Brazil, in some ways, because of that FIBA stuff, because they don't have any of their superstars. There's no Giannis on Greece. There's no big name on Italy. They have a really good chemistry and team buildup from history of playing together in FIBA. And that is the epitome of FIBA basketball compared to USA's throw them together and just get these talented guys out there and win through the talent. So yeah, it's a sliding scale, and Canada has got a little bit more of that FIBA to it than the US. Thank you, Quick Takes, and use that, man. Bring me up if you want, or just steal it. I don't care. None of this stuff is proprietary, and we're all about sharing knowledge and just putting it on blast and putting more out there. Ahmed's saying, I don't really care about the prize. I just find the trivia fun. Well, you don't even know what the prize is yet. Ahmed the GOAT. You know that our trivia champion last year, David Saborn, won a really boss gold chain, Raptors, big bling, like Flavor Flav kind of chain that it'll always have this champion, trivia champion gold Raptors chain to show for it. G won a Junkyard Dog practice jersey that was signed by Jerome Williams. So the prizes are pretty good, Ahmed. So you know, I know you're playing for fun, and that is the right reason to play. But just so you know, the prize will probably end up being pretty good. Let's just put it that way. So Leslie's here. Good to see Raptor Freak Leslie Hart checking in with us today. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. We have already made history in FIBA. Canada just needs to keep pushing. We killed the first round. Let's go, Canada. Yeah, we've never won our group before, ever. And that is a huge deal. Now, I know we finished with a medal in the past in FIBA, like once. I think we got silver once, but that's the best we've ever done. And that was really like in 1980. I think that we got silver right around 1980 or something. So it'll be interesting to see if we can get another medal at FIBA World Cup. I'd like to get at least a medal, if not win it all. Seriously, there's no reason why we shouldn't medal. Really, seriously, we're one of the top 3 teams at this tournament. We are for sure. I really strongly believe that. Quick Take saying, I hear you, G. Yeah, and Fiercely saying, have a great show, Nako. Wishing you a Netflix special in a few years. Manifesting. There you go, Gerald. Fiercely Saw Sarah is putting it out there in the world that you are going to go get a Netflix special at some point. I don't have no problem with you getting that goal happening for you, my good friend Gerald Mayhew. So yeah, have a great show tonight. You got the blessing of Fiercely Salsera behind you, and you go make that comedy sweet and spicy, man. Yeah. Trevor J saying it's not always about talent. Sometimes it's all about skills. Annoying your opponents if Canada meet the U.S. in the finals. The Canadian players play for the U.S., so they will know some of the guys' weaknesses. Well, this is true. The NBA familiarity between players is really important. In some ways, that was a special key to beating France for us, was knowing Gobert. Kelly Olynyk's a teammate of Gobert's in Utah in recent years, and that was helpful information to try and stop Gobert if you practiced against him for a year in the NBA or something like that. So there's definitely that kind of stuff is helpful for Canada as opposed to other international teams that are at FIBA World Cup, because they may not have as many NBA players that are familiar with Anthony Edwards or Jalen Brunson or Josh Hart. And that is a big part of an advantage for Canada in some ways, being that hybrid between the NBA and FIBA, that they are familiar with the NBA guys and what they like to do, their proclivities. That's right. Quick Take saying, keeping it pure, eh? Yeah, that's a little, I know that's some crazy talk from Latvian Davos Bertans. Little bit of eugenics, kind of like, what is this, bro? Are you like, this sounds really crazy from his voice and stuff like that. I know it's a little weird. Keep it pure. Yeah. Be careful. Slippery slope there, Bertans. Slippery slope. Fiercely saying, keep it pure. Okay, dead. Yeah. Yeah, we're starting to see this. Well, we saw the Latvian players and the Latvian crowd. And yeah, they're very homogenized. Let's just put it that way. That's the right word for it. Homogenized. Yeah, they're all look like they all from the same gene pool to a degree, and that may be what he means. He wants to keep it pure in breeding. I don't know. No, I'm not gonna say Latvians are inbreeding. That's not nice. But they want to keep it pure, apparently, is what Bertans is saying. Yeah, that's loaded and crazy. He may have translated really weird from Latvian. Who knows? Maybe he said it in Latvian and it translated kind of weird. I don't know, but it does sound really like cringe and kind of like, what the fuck? Where are you going with this? Are you like getting in these like Hitler kind of things that you're thinking? Davis Bertans. Wayne Strainer's here. Good to see Wayne Strainer, Rabbit Freak Wayne Strainer. And remember, Wayne, let's just state the facts here. The future of Olympic basketball championship is Canada. Take out the USA greats like LeBron, Curry, or Durant. The future stock is less of a team than Canada's. This is interesting. I mean, I don't know if I can argue this on your side, Wayne, because in some ways the US has an endless supply of different players that they could probably go to. And in some ways, their key to success is just finding the right formula of a group of guys that will just kind of gel and just do this. The dream team of 92 was the most impressive team ever put together in the history of basketball. I don't care any of these US teams ever since. You cannot beat Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, John Stockton, Scottie Pippen, Chris Mullin, David Robinson, Patrick Ewing, Christian Laettner, Clyde Drexler. You can't beat that. You just listen to what I just said. That team is the greatest basketball team ever assembled. And you can get different combinations like the Kobe, LeBron, Durant stuff that happened like 15 years ago, but they were nothing like that first dream team and the way they absolutely dominated the Barcelona Summer Olympics in 92. So it's weird. You try and get the right collection of guys. And in some ways, the U.S. has done better this time than other times when they've thrown guys together. They are actually kind of gelling in certain ways right now. And as I said, the pre-existing connections between the Villanova players on Team USA is helpful. There's different stuff like that that helps. So we'll have to see. I want to see more of our good NBA players for Canada coming into play for us. In some ways, I want to see a Trey Lyles, a Chris Boucher, more of them than maybe more of the like really, really talented guys like Jamal Murray, Andrew Wiggins, because I like the grunt kind of role player guys possibly coming in and giving good, different looks. We could always find top scorers like SGA and Jamal Murray to lead this team. And maybe we need two or three of them on the team for sure, just for depth and weapons and different looks for attacking. Like Jamal Murray on the team right now, yeah, we would be so even better. But in some ways, I want more Kelly Olynyk, Dwight Powell's, Melvin Ejim kind of players also on the team because it's balance and people know what they're supposed to do. And there's a hierarchy to things. In some ways, Brandon Ingram is a perfect example of there being problems with USA, partly because there's too many cooks in the kitchen. Does that make sense? That makes sense to me. Yeah. Quick take saying I'm kind of split on that. It's going to be interesting as time goes on. Let's see how we get even better and better. There's some very interesting things that happened in Toronto last night that I'm going to talk about in just a second. Fiercely saying Bertans needs to chill. Seriously, I understand his concerns, but the way he voices it is kind of intense. Laugh out loud. Yeah. Yeah. Once again, we don't know if it's lost in translation. It could be the way he says it in Latvian is not as sharp edge, but when you translate into English, it sounds like, whoa, bro. Whoa, 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 whoa. Where are you going with this, bro? Yeah, yeah. I'm totally like, it's weird. Cool Cat saying, I actually agree on that. It's unfair to those born and raised there that can't get the opportunity to represent their country over someone buying citizenship. Wow. Okay. Cool Cat's playing devil's advocate and standing with Davis on this. Besides the little kind of suspect wording of what he's saying, she understands the sentiment of what he's saying. And I agree with this. This is in some ways too, that Angola coach has said the same thing about Dominican, about, we want players from our country to get developed and develop our systems and our teams without like a help, without some guy who just comes in and shows up and say, yeah, I got a passport. I'm going to play for Angola right now. But does that help any Angolan people that may have that spot? Does that really help the team? Because, you're coasting on one guy to help you. Does this help Jordan, what Rondé Hollis Jefferson is doing for them? In some ways, it really doesn't. And they need to kind of get up on their own feet and do it themselves, is what Angolan coach is saying, and the Latvian people are saying too. I kind of get that. I kind of get that. In some ways, that's part of the fun of the Olympics and this FIBA kind of competition is you want the teams to have their identities of their countries. It's like you want to see Japanese people on Japan. You want to see Latvian people on Latvia to an extent. Maybe not in the racial way like he's saying, but or whatever. But yeah, I can get behind this side of the argument also because I don't know. We'll have to see. It's really weird how FIBA's changed over the last 30 years. They've changed a lot over the last 30 years. Like you look at the old FIBA games and they had the hexagonal lane. They had the fat lane at that time because you could do goaltending and all this stuff. But they at some point they said we're going to go to the NBA lane and have just the straight lane. But before they had that weird trapezoid that was kind of fat near under the basket. And so they're actively changing that game a lot. And in some ways, the FIBA teams kind of maybe some of them are kind of like we wish it was more traditional like it used to be. And letting naturalized players is part of that change that we're talking about. Yeah, Jamal's or let's say NBA Quick Take saying Jamal would do it. Jamal, just because he won this championship and he's tired, Jokic is not playing for his team either. I understand these guys have done long summers. And, Murray's a little bit nagging injured too. So it makes sense he's not there. But come around next year for the Olympics. Let's get the job done, get to the Olympics, and then let's see if Jamal shows up for the training camp next summer. The fact that he's been coming and working out with Team Canada at OVO Center and doing things around Team Canada pretty regularly in this cycle means that he's still very welcome to just show up, even though he's not playing at FIBA World Cup right now. I could see him very much showing up and playing for Canada at the Olympics next year if we qualify. I so hope we qualify. I'm pretty sure we will, but we got to beat Dominican. That's the biggest thorn in our side is that Dominican Republic team with Cat. But we beat Brazil tomorrow. We take care of somebody who's in our way right away. We beat Brazil tomorrow, and they're out of the picture as far as they're going to be above us to get into the Olympics. They can't get above us if we beat them tomorrow. So let's take Brazil out, a direct threat to us making the Olympics. Yeah, Cool Cat saying if your parents are Latvian, then that's different. If you have lived in Latvia, have close ties to your country in all your life, then yes, you're Latvian. In some ways, I've never been to Estonia, which is a country with Lithuania and Latvia, the three Baltics, but I could get Estonian citizenship like this. My father got his Estonian citizenship in recent years. And in some ways, Estonia wants more population around the world. So they're encouraging something called e-citizenship. They're one of the most technologically advanced countries in the world. They have like the most computers per people in some ways, and they are very much on the cutting edge of technologies. Like you do everything through your phone. You vote through your phone. You pay for your parking through your phone. They're very, very cutting edge. Well, they have something called e-citizenship where you don't even have to live in Estonia. I could go and apply and become an Estonian citizen in the next year, and I never have even been there. But I can prove my lineage because of my father's an Estonian very easily. And then, boom, I could play for Team Estonia with never, ever setting foot on their soil. It's very, very interesting. The different kind of rules for immigration and becoming naturalized citizens is different. If you can prove a lineage, sometimes that's all you need to get that passport or that citizenship for somewhere. And that's the different stringency of how countries deal with that is actually helps or hurts FIBA competition in some ways. So it's very, very interesting. If you can prove that you're of that descent, I think you should be able to play for it. I don't have any problem with Carl Anthony Towns playing for Dominican. He has Dominican roots in his family. And that makes sense if he wants to go play for them. Now, Rondé playing for Jordan, that doesn't totally make sense to me. And neither does Kyle Anderson playing for China. So it's a weird, it's like a case by case basis. If you can really find that linkage and say, yeah, I'm like an eighth Estonian, I want to play for his team Estonia. Okay, then go. Quick Take saying, I slept on Brunson, but he's good. A level or two under Shea. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying he's that much lower. I'm just saying that it's a different level of NBA superstar. When you're talking Jamal Murray, SGA, and Anthony Edwards. Those guys are top tier, the man for their teams. And in Brunson, in some ways, he's the point guard. And RJ, to me, should be more the man in New York.
because that's more of his style. Or Julius Randle. Those guys are more the man in New York, and Jalen Brunson is really the point guard, and he should be making those guys look good in some ways. Now we can start talking about point guard rankings and stuff like that, sure, but it's a different type of player to me. Jalen should be setting people up. The guys that should be knocking it down are Gilgeous Alexander, Jamal Murray, and Anthony Edwards. Those are the scorers. Yeah. Randolph Phillips saying, Lex, you are right. God has given to every man a measure of faith according to their ability. So, yes, everyone has faith, but not everyone exercises faith appropriately. Impatience gets in the way. It really, really does. In our culture today, short attention spans are worse than ever. We have everything so flash and so quick. Nobody wants to wait for stuff. The microwave has ruined us. We can cook something in 2 minutes and eat it. And in some ways, that's our mentality about gathering blessings, that we want it to happen all right away, right now. And that's not how it happens. Good things take time. It's all the cliche, stupid sayings are exactly right. If anything good happens really fast, well, it's not going to last. So, in some ways, you want to take the time to put the time into it and let that blessing come out correctly, naturally. Because if you rush it, you may get cheated on it a little bit because it isn't exactly what it could have been if you really took care of it. Yeah, I love this, Randolph. We get philosophical here, that's for sure. We really do. Smooth saying, first dunk. Thanks, man. Yeah, no problem, Smooth. It's been a bit, and we're happy to see you, man. David saying, when is this game? The game will be on the 10th. If we play against US, gold medal game is scheduled for the 10th of September. This whole tournament will wrap up on September 10th. So we've still got like 10 more days of this tournament. So you figure it out. This stuff is going to be coming fast and furious over the next 10 days to get to the point where we're going to be in a gold medal game. We play these next two games, we play the next round, and then boom, we are hopefully in the final four, and we're playing in a semifinal and a final around the 8th and the 10th. So there you go. That's kind of the schedule right there, David. Always good to see trivia champion David Saborin in the chat. Yeah. Monique is saying to me next that, dear Ronnie 2K, please fix your NBA 2K shit. Pascal at 86. How are we feeling about that, y'all? Some fans are ticked off. Well, we know they're going to slight us. They always do that. All right, I'm going to go look at this because Monique has posted this in our Facebook group. And I want to look at it specifically and kind of break down each one of the rankings for each one of the Raptors. They only have the starting lineup posted, but it's leaked. And she's upset about this. All right, they got Dennis Schroeder at 77. That seems about right. OG at 82. Scotty at 83. Jakob Pertl at 81. And Pascal at 86. In some ways, I'll say this, Monique. The starting lineup has a lot of 80s in it. So in some ways, that's very fair to us. So we like that. But I know you want to get Pascal into the 90s with his ranking. And I get why you feel like he's slighted. This happens every year. The stupid NBA 2K rankings, all the players get pissed off about their ratings. And they're like, I'm too slow in this game. What are y'all doing to me? I get it. In some ways, it's a dumb game too. And I don't care myself anymore. I know Scotty's playing it himself these days. He posted something recently about asking whether he looks like himself on the new NBA 2K. But in some ways, this stuff's stupid. I don't think Pascal plays this game ever. In some ways, he could get his ranking up more during the season if he comes out there and beats them down. Now, an interesting thing I saw was Bleacher Report's rankings of best big men in the league. He's on that list. It's really weird. They always include Siakam with the centers in the NBA. I don't understand that, y'all. He's a forward and he's a wing. He's not a center. We have Pirtle. He's our center, but they put him in a ranking with the centers with Jokic and Joel Embiid, and they have him sixth out of the whole entire NBA. He's the sixth best big man in the NBA by Bleacher Report. So that's a ranking in some ways I care more about than how Ronnie 2K ranks these guys on that video game. He's going to slight them every which way. Last year was Gary Trent Jr. He really slighted him. Well, now people are saying he's slighting Pascal. It is what it is. And a lot of it is kind of dumb, honestly. Kareem Thomas saying Nick Nurse went from playing Purple Rain on stage to playing the Hawaiian guitar singing Over the Rainbow. He's depressed, and we need to keep tabs on him. Kareem's worried about Nick, our old friend. I think this is true. I mean, you really don't gain weight like that really quickly unless you're eating your emotions.
Yeah, this is really weird, honestly. Seeing maybe he wants to be a fat man because that Philadelphia fans like a fat man better to coach their team. So maybe it's very like on purpose because he's like, oh, if I'm a jolly fat coach for the Sixers, maybe the Sixers fans will. Oh, wait, they don't want him to be confused for Santa Claus. That wouldn't be good in Philadelphia. Yikes. I kind of like what Kareem's saying here. It's close. You're a very good dunk artist. I have a different level of expectation from you, Kareem Thomas. You're close. You're very close with this one. But I'm going to hold off. If you give me another half dunk, you'll get a full dunk. How about that? Name is saying, Buongiorno a tutti, amili amici. Good morning to all my friends is my Italian lesson from my good friend Nameless this morning. Good to see him. Kareem saying, Lex, I'm throwing you an alley oop. Do a 360. You deserve a dunk. You're the dunk leader on my list. All right, Kareem. All right, you sucking up to me a little bit here. I'll take a dunk just because All right, I've had some witty things I've said. I'm not gonna turn around and say, "Ooh, that's a dunk," and mark it for myself. If y'all feel like I deserve a dunk, go ahead and give me a dunk every once in a while. I appreciate that alley oop from Kareem Thomas. NBA Quick Takes saying, I'm stealing it for the show tonight. You go right ahead, NBA Quick Takes. You go right ahead. Like I said, we steal and aggregate from every which way, and that's just how it is. People will be like, "Oh, Lex, you just go and look up stuff from everywhere and you bring it in here and talk about it." Yeah, I do because I want to make it easier for Raptor fans to not have to go and look at all this stuff like I've been doing, and they get all their information and learn stuff in a nice one place. That's what aggregators do to an extent. But I'm going to tell you right there now, I'm not the normal aggregator because a lot of my stuff is original coming out of my mouth. And, there's entertainment value to me also. But if you watch the game with me and you see me do a watch along, you'll exactly hear me coming up with original observations in the moment while the game is happening. So, in some ways, there is an astuteness and original content on this channel, even if I'm going over all the news from around the league and Raptor stuff from other sources. So there is originalness to this. If not, the great singing or improvisational puppetry and stuff like that. Yeah, there's stuff going on here. But yeah, none of this is proprietary. These are ideas, and ideas are meant to be shared and shouldn't be owned by anyone. That's how I feel about it. Smooth saying, I'm actually concerned for Nick Nurse and his health. Philly is the next level beast. Fans and media, I mean, yeah, I'm not going to disagree with this. I'm glad they cheered him. Right now, he's the person they love. They hate James. They hate Joel to an extent. Nick is the one that they like right now. We'll see how long it takes them before they turn on him, though. At some point, they will turn on him. They will. But for right now, he's the new kid, and he's the one who's supposed to save them. And they're more likely to blame Harden and Embiid and other people like Morey than they're going to blame Nick because he's their shiny new toy, their new kid on the block. But, it is kind of, we are a little worried for him too. Like his health, I don't know. Yeah, we'll have to see. He might be really weird crouching on the court this year if he's really round. Really, really round. He might fall over or something like that. It might be weird. Name was saying, listen, man, I keep all my proclivities strictly sexual. What? Holy crap. Where's this coming from? This is weird. I'm going to give you a strike. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to give you a strike or a dunk. That's really weird out there. You keep your proclivities strictly sexual. You don't have any other proclivities in your life, like you will eat a green apple over a red apple. That's a proclivity. Oh, are you making that sexual also? Is that what it is, Nameless? Picking apple types is your proclivity for apples is sexual in itself. We got down a really weird road just now. Yeah. Wayne Strainer saying that's the point, Lex. All those names are in the past. Conversations about the future. The talent pool is on Canada's side. Further down, it might be Australia, but now the talent pool is trending us. I mean, we can't discount the U.S. people are coming up with good players all the time, absolutely all the time. And in some ways, they have way more people, and they're, in some ways, it's demographics. U.S., Canada, population sizes are different. So in some ways, we have a smaller pool of grabbing people from, but the talent is overwhelmingly badass. Australia is that third team with NBA talent on their FIBA team. They are the third most NBA loaded team in this competition after US and Canada. They have a lot of NBA players on their team also, for sure. But they're different. They're different kind of vibe with them, for sure. But yeah, I don't disagree. We're going to be a power in the future, and we do have burgeoning crops of young, great Canadian talent. In fact, let's switch gears real quick. There was an event here in Toronto last night, and it's not only the men's side of Canadian basketball that's getting invigorated with great new talent. We've seen on the Canadian women's side of things a name called Toby Fournier. Toby is very much a star for Team Canada, and people already love her. Well, she's in Toronto last night at an event for Subway. They were filming a commercial for Subway, and our guys were there, our Subway guys. Bolway, yeah, and the guy who likes the Slim Jims, yeah, all three of them. Power pack, star-studded filming of a commercial for Subway last night here in Toronto at a special private Subway event. Scotty Barnes, Chris Boucher, and Toby Fournier together. It's all over their Instagrams right now. Scotty actually did fly up from Florida yesterday with Cardi in a private jet. So we were talking about, is Scotty in Florida during the storm? Well, he was, but he got out of there and he flew right around the storm, and he's back in Toronto as of yesterday, just in time to go to this Subway commercial filming. They didn't put any advertisement out for this, so it was not open to the public. I'm pretty sure that this event was not actually a Subway event. It was actually just an organized commercial shoot, and they had certain extras and people there. A lot of people are upset. They're like, why are there no people there to be around those people? Well, that's by design. This was a closed event. They did not put any publicity out, and Subway wanted to film a commercial with Toby, Chris, and Scotty. And that's what they did last night. So we're seeing different dunks from that commercial. Let me go look at the Instagram check. That's actually where this stuff is. All right, we'll start with Slim Doug, and he's saying shout out to he's putting Toby's story on blast. It's outside. First of all, it looks like it may be somewhere near the distillery district, somewhere around that area of downtown Toronto. Slim Duck is saying shout out to Slim Duck and your boy Scotty for the support at the Subway commercial from Toby Fournier. And then like they're dancing and clapping. It looks like the three of them are birds of a feather, and they really kind of vibe together. The three of them, those three hoopers. We see Toby throwing it down on one clip. Very nice dunk. There was some guy who dunked on Scotty's head, which was very weird. Scotty got Scotty was like some random guy just came up and tried to jump over Scotty, and he kind of like teabagged him in the back of his head and kind of didn't fully clear him, but he did dunk it. And then Scotty's kind of like, oh, I just got dunked on. Kind of messed up. And of course, Slim Duck's out there throwing tens out there for Toby for her dunk. Good stuff there. Dennis has got some nice tea over there in Japan. Good night massage, of course, with my babe, Ellen. And they're having a tea together with nice hot towels. So very luxurious rehabilitation for Germany's Dennis Schroeder right now. And there's a nice view out the window. It looks like the weather in Japan right now is absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing over there right now in Asia, the season and where they're at. Let's see what else. He's got highlights of him from when he played for the Atlanta Hawks. So Dennis is giving an old school highlight reel of Atlanta Hawks stuff from when he was way back then. Let's see who else we got. We got Ron Harper Jr. He's got a clip of him at boring runs. So there's boring runs where there's invite only star-studded runs hosted by Coach DJV, and it looks like Ron Harper's getting up for a block on a guy. I don't think he totally got him, but yeah, he's at these boring runs. Apparently, Ron Harper Jr. and Dylan. I see Dylan Harper there with him also. So yeah, great summer work. They were just doing some boxing also apparently. And he's also out on the football field. It looks like Ron Harper Jr. going to a football practice and being out there on the gridiron lines. Scotty on his little travel day with his dog Cardi on the runway on a leash. And you see the black jet behind him. As I said, they flew up from Florida to get back to Toronto in time to do the Subway commercial last night. Good stuff. And then he's showing the highlight of Toby dunking at that highlight. Toby is awesome. I really like Toby Fournier. And I think she's going to be a top pick in our WNBA draft next year. People are going to want her on their team. And then Scotty doing a little robot dance, it looks like, at the Subway event, doing a little bit of the yeah, Scotty getting down. Precious is in black and white still, and he's looking at a picture of a man on fire in an art gallery.
and he's got an old school camera, like one of those old ones, like you would go like this, but it's a new camera. It just looks old. I love it. Precious is such an artist, man. And he really does have a style and a kind of a theme to himself. And right now it's very black and white. This summer has been very, very black and white. His medium and his compositions of what he's taking pictures of and putting on blast. I like the picture of him walking in front of all the TV screens. Really cool usage of light and shadow. Yeah, see, I can do critical art. Like, I'll look at stuff and criticize art. I did take art history classes at Florida State, so I do know quite a lot about composition and things like that. So yeah, he's got shorts on that say "Have fun today." That's right. That's good words of wisdom from him. But he's at some sort of art gallery. Precious is checking out some really good modern art and different things like that. Thad Young, of course, reform transportation on blast every day, all day, every time. He also made an appearance on a podcast recently. It's called Listen Live on AMP, some dude show with Lexi Brown, I guess of the WNBA, Anthony Morrow, and Cuffs. And Thaddeus was the special guest. And after he appeared on this podcast, Shakina Young said she wants to listen to more podcasts because it was so cool what Thad did with that podcast. So she's like asking for recommendations, a podcast she should start listening to. So if you follow Shakina Young, go give her some podcast suggestions. Grady Dick putting on blast his Kansas days and his Kansas jersey with the Kansas crowd. Very, very proud of his lineage in his 1 year with the Kansas Jayhawks. Very, very proud of that time for him. Let's see. Pascal has got a dance battle going on in his skills camp in Cameroon. So this one guy's getting down. He's got the old school Raptors shorts on, and he's really got some crazy dancing. And Pascal loves it. This dance battle in Cameroon was off the chain. Honestly, I'm looking at it, and there's like the one dude's a legend. You can see they're keeping it light and loose. The vibe is strong in Cameroon at Pascal Siakam Skills Academy. Vibe is very strong. Look at these people dancing. They got some moves. I'm not gonna lie. Hilarious. Oh, so good. All right, let's see. Is there anything else? Oh, the Raptor is saying he's waiting for on Drake's new album For All the Dogs. Like he's sitting up on top of the CN Tower, just like that old Drake album cover. The Raptors up there waiting for the latest Drake drop to come. All right, there's your Raptors Instagram check for today. Yeah, Scotty and Chris filming a Subway commercial with Toby last night in the Distillery District. I think that's where it was. Yeah, so there you go. There you go. Bam, 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 bam. Cool Cat saying, but Lex, you have bloodline for your background country, but not athletes buying citizenship. Laugh out loud. That's country shopping. Yeah. I mean, I agree with this to a degree. Well, let's look at the Bahamas. Bahamas, all right. Ayton is definitely from the Bahamas. He's very closely linked to the Bahamas. But Eric Gordon, can he trace that lineage? Yes, he can. So he should be allowed to play for Bahamas. But Bahamas were part of this whole argument about naturalization. And the team from Argentina was very much complaining about them in the America's Cup that they had just recently. That's not FIBA, it's a lower level. And them beating them because these NBA guys showed up. Buddy Hield definitely could be playing for Bahamas. He has that linkage enough. So it's like, I get what you're saying. You're exactly right. I could go play for Estonia, and there's no problem with that because there is a lineage, there's a linkage to it. And that I agree with this. I think that's right. And if you're a good NBA player, and even if you have just a little bit of a connection going back to that country, like Jordan Clarkson with the Philippines, they should totally be allowed to play for their country that they have some sort of family connection for. And in some ways, Bertans is being very hardline. He's like, you have to be born and live here. Well, what if there's a Latvian guy who's like 7'4", who's in the United States, who never was born in Latvia, but you can trace him back to Latvia very closely? Would you be upset if he showed up, Davis? I bet you wouldn't. If you had all of a sudden another Porzingis out there, but he was a kid from Texas whose family was Latvian, but he never ever went to Latvia, I'm sure you wouldn't be upset about that, and he would be pure enough for you. Yeah, it's weird terminology, and he needs to watch himself. Walk that rope there. Monique saying, hit the like and subscribe for the best Raptors freak channel, etc. Thank you, Monique, for putting me on blast, and I'll put you on blast in return. That's what we do here. The superfan Monique Lawrence is the one of the greatest fans of the Raptors ever in the history of time and always will be. She's kind of like the Bret Hart of Raptor fans. The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. That is Monique Lawrence. Yeah, I'm telling you that right now. Cool Cat saying Jalen Brunson is good. Now that he is being touted all over the NBA, teams are going to plan for him. Let's see if they are able to shut him down this season or if he has more layers to his game. Yeah, to me, I can smell hype. I can smell overinflated NBA hype. They do it to Tatum and Brown. They do it to certain individual players like Ben Simmons. And when I feel that hype around a player, which Brunson has around him right now since he showed up in New York, I downgrade them. I do the opposite. When they start anointing golden boys, I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to just take this guy and be a golden boy just because you told me to make him a golden boy. So no, I'm not. I'm disregarding what you are saying because it's hot air to me. And until I see it happen, if he comes and beats the Raptors and beats their ass, then I'll give him respect. But otherwise, I'm not giving him respect just because the NBA is telling me to give him respect. Screw that. He's probably a very good point guard. He's probably one of the top point guards in this league, but he's not one of the top scorers, and he's not one of the top players in the league. In fact, I would probably rank him in the bottom 50 of the top 100 players in the NBA. People will probably put him in the top 40. And that's the crazy overinflated bullshit I'm talking about right there. He's probably like 80th or 85th best player in the NBA, but some people put him all the way up at like 40 or 35th or something crazy like that. That's the way I look at it. Quick Taste saying channels having microwave debates. Yeah. Yeah. They just want to cook everything up real quick. And it doesn't even matter if it's cooked totally. It could be partly frozen still, their arguments and their content. Yeah. Cool Cat saying, I don't even bother with rankings of any kinds when it comes to the Raptors. Laugh out loud. Yeah, those Bleacher Report rankings were stupid. They only had Pascal and OG show up on them. They've got OG like the 15th best wing in the league or something like that. And then Siakam, the sixth best big man. It's Bleacher Report, NBA Central, NBA itself. It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. And Cool Cat is exactly right. Don't even bother with them. I like looking at them just to see what the perception is and kind of breaking it down and kind of making fun of it. But otherwise, I don't put a lot of into it. It's just bullshit hot air. Just like the way they predict our wins for the season coming up. MSJ saying NBA 2K is kind of cool, but Pascal is a forward. Yeah, I think he's a forward too. He's not a center. And I get so weirded out when they keep putting him on center lists. Oh, whatever. Y'all can think he's a center down south. And maybe he is tall enough to be a center. But he's actually a forward, y'all. We have Yaka Pearl. He plays center. Thank you for being here, Chris. Always good to see the Mug Brother in the house. Yeah. Tom Ducarelli is here. Our associate producer, Tom Duke Arelli. Yes, he's got Scotty, he's got Mo, he's got OG, he's got Pascal, he's got me. It's his favorite Raptors lineup of all time. Pascal, OG, Scotty, Mo, and Lex. I love that, Tom. That's so beautiful and awesome. Let's go, Raptors. And of course, I love all of the Geordie lineups for Canada. Go Canada. Let's beat Brazil and Spain. Let's get real far and bring US the pain. Yeah, I'll come up with an original Go Canada little rhyme for every once in a while on the streams. I'll do a new one every time. I like that last one. Let's bring US the pain. Yeah, I like that. Let's beat Brazil and Spain. Let's bring US the pain. Yeah, good rhyming structure. Yeah. MSJ saying also, was it decided that Team Canada has a better fit and perhaps team than USA? I see it that way. Well, we're kind of debating this today in the think tank. And, in some ways, I would argue that the role players' natures of the Canada makeup is in some ways stronger than the US having a whole bunch of like stars or like guys that are kind of ultra talented. In some ways, you want a Melvin Ejim. I've said this. You want a Kelly Olynyk. And, Jaren Jackson Jr. may be the most kind of role player-ish kind of player on that team. For the most part, the rest of them are kind of all, different kind of things. It's like Josh Hart needs to get a new specialization to help them in the ways they need to. Cam Johnson, some of these other guys from the bench, they've got to do different things than what they normally do in the NBA or even what they're the best at in the NBA because they need the other roles to fill in all the spaces of what an NBA team or what a team needs to win and in a FIBA environment. So I don't know. We're kind of coming up with it's very even, very close. And if we play them, it's going to be very fun and it could be super competitive. Super, super competitive. Okay, Monique is asking for a Jordy emoji. Tom, I don't know, Mo. I want to keep with the Raptors theme on here. I know Jordy is still a Sacramento King, and in some ways, that emoji would only be good for the next 10 days. In some ways, I don't want to put Jordy on blast too much because in some ways this is just Team Canada time temporarily. This is really a Raptors channel, and I don't want a Sacramento Kings assistant coach in one of the emotes. So maybe for like a week, if Tom wants to put it in while we're still playing, sure. But once we're done with Team Canada content, we're back on Raptors stuff more. Yeah, I don't want a Jordy emoji in there, even if we love him and he's been a fantastic job for Canada. MSJ saying, I think this channel takes off this season. Thanks, MSJ. Well, we'll see. Either way, I'm happy with what we're doing. I want to continue to keep the field the way it is and just keep puttering along, doing what I'm doing. I've gone past 700 straight days streaming. I'm going to try and get to 1,000 and go keep on going every single day. Tomorrow, watch along, 9:30 a.m. And Saturday, we're doing a Saturday Share the Love Club, and I'm going to make it a surprise who this Saturday Share the Love Club is going to be for this week. Yeah, it's going to be a surprise. I'm not telling y'all until Saturday. Yeah, Dana's laughing a lot. I like that Dana's laughing. Tom's saying quantity of available emotes is dictated by membership numbers. Who should I trade in? Perhaps send the Raptor away for an off-season holiday? Like I said, Tom, I'm not. Even though Mo wants to get Jordy in there, maybe a temporary one could be put in there just for a little bit. But I want it switched back once we're done with Team Canada stuff because those emoji spots are very crucial and valuable, and we need to have the right people in there, like OG and Pascal and Scotty and Grady and those people. So in some ways, Jordy's great for right now, but that's only for FIBA until we're done. And FIBA will be over on September 10th. So that moat might only have a short lifespan. Let's just put it that way. Maybe we can bring it back at some other point when FIBA's playing again. But that's just the way I look at it. This is a Raptor Free channel. Team Canada is covered on this channel, but it is still the Raptors numero uno in this world, baby. That's right. Tom Duke has got the plane flying to vacation for the Raptor. I don't know. The Raptor may be on vacation already. You know, we heard recently that Benny the Bull has retired. The guy who plays Benny the Bull is retired, and I'm a little worried. Our Raptor guy, I know his real name, might be retiring at some point. He is around my age, and the fact that he does all the things he does physically as a Raptor at his age is amazing. It's only been one Raptor the whole entire time we've had the Toronto Raptors. There's been one dude playing that role, other than Stripes, who came in when he tore his ACL. But the Raptor has been the same dude since '95. And in some ways, you know, he may be getting at there, and we may be having a new guy doing the Raptor mascot at some point in the next decade or so. So hopefully he has a lot of good health and continues to be able to do it for a long, long time still. But Benny the Bull has retired this offseason, apparently. The guy who plays Benny the Bull for the Bulls has retired. So that's an interesting little side story about mascots there. Cool Cat saying, I love Toby Fournier. Her game is very solid and will be a complete WNBA player. Yeah, it's exciting. I loved seeing those clips of the three of them last night together at this Subway event. I love the melding of the female Canadian national basketball player with our Toronto Raptor guys. It looked like they were having a lot of fun. There's a lot of love and respect between the three of them there. Very, very cool. Of course, Chris being Canadian also. That's a good like little bond. And then Scotty just being so fun. So some Subway commercial coming your way soon with those three in it. NBA Quick Take saying that's why he's nameless, I guess. Yeah, Nameless is a controversial Raptor freak. He's somebody who's been with this channel for quite a while now. He's my paisan. He's my Italian teacher, but he's also can be very dark in some ways. In some ways, he likes the darkness around Darko's name because of his lawsuit with New York Knicks. We found that out this week. And in some ways, there is a dark side to Nameless, but that's all right. We'll embrace him for his light and his dark. It's all fine. Fiercely saying, hi, Lex. I think you missed my two comments as well as David's and NBA Quick Takes. All right, let me go back and see if I jumped over anybody. I do not like to do that, and I apologize if I did. No, 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 no. Okay, here we go. I think I see where you're talking about, Fiercey. I did skip ahead. I apologize by that. Okay, it was David said, when's this game? Monique was saying, glad Bleacher Report did it right by putting Pascal top 15, big number 6. Yeah, yeah, that wasn't a bad ranking for sure. David saying, like Spike, give me a like Spike. Quick take saying, FIBA will give you world champs soon. Don't worry. Yeah, I guess we could say whoever wins this FIBA World Cup is the world champions, and that more so than the Denver Nuggets. Fiercely saying, Nick Nurse eating probably his emotions, his way of dealing with stress and the atmosphere in Philly. Depression can also do that to you, especially if you're on meds. Not saying that's the case for him. Yeah, it sucks. It's sad. And I feel bad for Nick as a person, not as a coach of the Philadelphia 76ers, though. You brought this on you, Nick. You could have gone to Phoenix and had like just such a nice life in the desert. But you did this. You would have even been better off with Milwaukee and Giannis. But you put yourself in this position. You have only yourself to blame in some ways. David's saying this year's prize is pretty sick. So I'm at the GOAT. Listen up. David Saborn, the trivia champion from last year, has got the prize for this year. He's the one who's giving the prize for the trivia. And I don't know what it is completely yet. I'll find out at some point so I can tell y'all when he sends it to me. But it's going to be a sick prize, is what David's saying. So you're going to want to win it. That's right. That's right. All right, there. I think I'm back to where I was supposed to be. I apologize for that, Fiercey. And thank you for calling me out and coming back and checking those comments. I think those were the ones you were talking about, at least. All right, let's see. MSJ saying, I wish Murray was playing, though. Our firepower would be unreal. And Wiggins, our team could be even better, which is scary. Yeah, and I expect the Team Canada to get better and better over the years and really rival the U.S. for trying to be the top dog in international play in all aspects and situations and competitions. And I'm all about that. Let's go. Cool Cat saying Eric Gordon's mother is from Bahamas. That's different. See, he fits. I'm not saying those guys don't fit, but that was the argument that was coming from Argentina. That there's a couple different places that people are making arguments against this naturalization stuff. Argentina, Angola, and Latvia, bringing up concerns in different ways, and some of them are stupid, and some of them are like, well, these guys are from Bahamas. They can play because his mom is from Bahamas. And Buddy Hield is very much from Bahamas, and so is DeAndre Ayton. So there's no problem with them having those 3 players. Cool Cat saying, Rondé, where is his Bahrain background? If he has it, my apologies. He doesn't. Absolutely no background and connection to the country of Jordan other than he's playing for them right now at FIBA World Cup as a naturalized citizen who also is a hired gun in some ways. He is very much a mercenary. And in some ways, it's very calculated. In some ways, it's very smart by him. He's getting a lot of eyes on him right now. And this could be very good for his career in basketball because he's getting this showcase right now for Jordan and doing so well. They're comparing him to Kobe Bryant, for Pete's sake, which is crazy in some ways. But I can see the similarities that people are saying for sure. Quick Take saying Raptors 100%. Trevor J saying France 82, Iran 55. That game is over. So France has won their game against Iran 82-55, and all the games in that for today are over in FIBA World Cup for today. Good stuff. Cool Cat saying if we ever lose Pascal or OG, you would see the media hype go in overdrive. His spin would have legendary statues. Yes, those guys go south the border. It's a whole different way. Like Fred's starting to feel it already down there. Fred has a new content that got dropped on YouTube yesterday. If you're still following him, just a short little workout clip that he put out on YouTube yesterday. Nameless is laughing. Mo's got our cutoff. I love it. Tom Duke saying, let's bring USA the pain. That's right. Bring them the pain. That's right. Great earworm for me to get through today in anticipation of tomorrow's game. Whoop, 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 whoop. Thank you, Tom Duke, as always, for everything you're doing for the channel. Trevor J saying, but game between Angola and Dominican just started. Wait, I'm watching it right now. Oh, the replay. I'm sure it's a replay because those games are not live anymore. Fiercely saying, being the same Raptor since 1995, very commendable. I like Benny the Bull, very entertaining. Yeah, Benny the Bull is one of the top-ranked mascots in the NBA. He may be the top mascot, but the Raptors not too far behind. Here's another ranking that came out recently. They ranked the top executives in the NBA, and Danny Ainge was number 1. But guess who was number 2? That's right, our guy Masai. Yeah, that's fantastic. Honestly, they could say all this stuff about Masai this, Masai that, but the list from Bleacher Report puts him as the number 2 NBA executive in the whole entire NBA, right behind Danny Ainge. So hey, I ain't upset about that. And somebody's noticing Masai is still a badass and doing a very, very good job. So why are all these idiots saying we need to fire him? If in the States, they actually recognize him as the second best NBA GM in the whole entire league. There you go, right there. Bam. Quick Take saying, did Nameless sell that Duncan jersey yet? I don't know. I don't know. Chris comes saying, just get a game set up between the NBA champs and the World Cup champs. Easier said than done, but no one is questioning who the champs are after that game. I agree with this, Crisco. In fact, in the preseason, if you're going to have Luka play against a team that he used to play on or whatever, if you're going to have foreign teams play against NBA teams, you do it in the preseason. Those games are going to happen and be scheduled already. Now, getting the allure of the champions from those other places to come and show up and play an exhibition game, but you can make it an official world championship and make it a big deal. Even though it's an exhibition for the team to warm up to get in the season, you take the Nuggets, the team who's the champion in their preseason, make them play a champion from another league. That can really reinforce who should be considered the world champion. I think that that's smart. And they're already playing foreign teams against NBA teams in preseason. Well, let's get those champion teams and have them come over and play against like the top 4 teams in the NBA from last year, the teams that were in the Eastern and Western Conference Finals, and have like the Spanish champion play the Denver Nuggets, have the Italian champion play the Miami Heat, have the Australian team play against the Lakers. Just do smart shit like that. And boom, all of a sudden you can have more of an argument that says this is real NBA world champions and it means something for real. You can do it, Adam Silver. It's just you got to line up all those ducks in a row the right way to get it across. Name was saying, quick takes. I'm still waiting to fence the load. Okay, that's right. We're talking about Kevin Willis getting all of his jerseys stolen, and Nameless was saying that he took the jerseys. Yeah, Nameless. Come on, man. Why are you going to do this to Tim Duncan? Or no, to Kevin Willis? I found out some weird stuff about Tim Duncan recently. I don't even want to talk about it. I've lost a lot of respect for one of his old teammates and finding out some stuff about Tim Duncan in his personal life. But because I respect and love Tim Duncan as an NBA champion 5 times over with the San Antonio Spurs, I'm not even going to put it on blast or tell you guys what happened. And y'all can go find it yourself. And I don't even want to talk about it on here. But there is something weird I found out about Tim Duncan, his personal life, and some of his skeletons in the closet. And it's sad. And it's not even Tim's fault. In some ways, he's a nice guy who's taken advantage of. And it's kind of messed up. It's very messed up. It will change your opinion of a former NBA legend that's involved in this situation forever. In fact, I hate the guy at this point for this situation. I'm not going to tell y'all what it is because I don't want to air this dirty laundry. But if you go and look for Tim Duncan content recently about his personal life and his former marriage, you'll find out exactly what I'm talking about. But I don't want to put it on blast here. Yeah. Let's see. Fiercely saying, keeping my eye on the prize as well. Tuesday trivia. That's right. Fiercely, you're a top contender. In some ways, it's Isaac Campbell, Fiercely Salsera, and Amit the GOAT are like the 3 top dogs now that Iceman has unsubbed as the leader in the points. Well, you guys can go take that lead from him and get that prize that David Saborin saying is absolutely sick prize that he's got ready for you guys to win the trivia this year. I can show you another prize real quick right now. Hang on a sec. So, as I said before, we have a new commissioner of fantasy sports for the Raptor Freak channel, Trevor J. He sent me something in the mail this last week that he wants to be the prize for our fantasy basketball league this year for this season. We're going to play NBA fantasy basketball. Once again, I'm going to ask y'all if you want to do it on Yahoo or ESPN, and if you want to do rotisserie or head-to-head like we did with the WNBA, y'all will determine that, and the person who's going to win is going to get this. And this is amazing. I'm not going to lie. This is a very nice case that opens up like this. And inside it, oh, crap. Hang on. Oh, man, it fell out. It's a ring. This ring will be the championship ring for our fantasy basketball player this wins this year. Duke Rocks won last year. He won a Vince Carter Tar Heels signed jersey. This year, you're getting a championship ring and a mini. We're going to call it the Trevor J. Jay O'Brien, a mini championship trophy. So that's going to be whoever wins our fantasy league this year is going to get this mailed to them. So there you go, David Saborin. There's something for you to aim for for your league win. Well, you're going to try and win the fantasy. I know you are. So we'll see. This is not for the WNBA one. The whistle is still for the WNBA one, but that is going to be the championship for the NBA one this year. And that will be given to somebody at the end of the season next year. So that's a prize donated by Trevor J. That's the official Trevor J Cup for our fantasy champion. So just so y'all know, there you go. Let's see. Nameless is quick takes laughing at Nameless and fiercely saying OKC versus Detroit preseason game tickets not selling as fast as last year's Raps versus Celtics and Montreal. Still getting emails to purchase tickets. Interesting. Yeah, that Boston Toronto game sold out real fast last year, but I'm still hearing that they're selling pretty good for that game also. So don't give up on it. David's saying, let's go. He's got the umlaut O's. Name is saying the Tim Duncan and them damn proclivities. Yeah, there's some messed up stuff with that. You'll find out about Tim Duncan if you go look at it. David's saying, nah, I like the format from last year. You like the rotisserie from last year? In some ways, you don't like this head-to-head that we've been doing during the WNBA. In some ways, that's pretty fun. And Monique's saying lots to talk about today. Very informative. W Stream Lex. Always keep at it. September tomorrow. Already go Raptors. Go Canada. Good times approaching. Yes, Monique. And on that note, I'm going to wrap things up because I'm right at 2 hours. Great stuff in World Cup today. The losers bracket finishing up today. And then we're going to have our game tomorrow, 7:30 or 9:30 a.m. Canada versus Brazil. I will be here watching along, and I'd like y'all to join me. So please come join me for that. It'll be a lot of fun tomorrow. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. Join the Raptor Freak channel if you want as a member. There are some privileges to that. In fact, if you are a member of this channel, you're going to be more likely included in some of the fun contests that we have coming up. We have something called the Trevor J Challenge that will be revealed to y'all in the coming months. And I wanted to tell you guys about this right now, but I can't yet. So I'm going to give it a little bit of time. And if you are a member of this channel, you are more likely to be included in that. So just so you know. Let's see. David's saying, not a fan. So you don't like the head-to-head the way it's been. You really want to do the rotisserie. Well, we might take a vote on this because I've seen different people say they like the head-to-head. And some people have said that they like the rotisserie, like you said. So we'll have to see. Dana's saying, oh, my God, I can't. I just found out what you were talking about with Tim Duncan. Yeah, I'm really pissed off about this. And I don't really want to put it on blast. And Tim is such a nice person. And so, like, the thing is this was happening while he was winning championships and being one of the most dominant players in the NBA. And the fact that could be true about his teammate and his children, it really, really makes me upset. So anyway, I love y'all. Thank y'all for joining me today. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share NBA Quick Takes and my channel. And I'll be back tomorrow for the watch along. 9:15, I'll be live. And I hope y'all join me then for Brazil versus Canada in the next part of the FIBA World Cup. All right, y'all. Have a great Thursday. Let's go, Jordy and Team Canada. And let's go, Darko Rajakovic and the Toronto Raptors. Let's go, Canada!